Recording. I think we're recording. Yep, we're recording. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hedge Podcast. Got a sniffle going on over there, fella. What's up with that?
Dude, I've had a sniffle for like 6 months. It's ridiculous.
I hate those.
It's ridiculous.
They don't go away. That's the problem.
No, I obviously have issues.
We don't have enough time to go through your issues right now. Okay, buddy.
And nobody cares. So whatever. Whatever.
Oh man. For those of you just joining us for the first time, I'm Omar, aka Retro Hoops. He's on the other side. I gotta fix
I'm in the big seat tonight.
Yeah, you're in the big seat today. You're in the Corvette today. You're driver's seat.
Yeah.
That's my man JD. We got a guest today.
Yeah, we do.
Those of you that are watching, you can see our layouts a little bit different today because we got a guest in the house today. I will let you go ahead and do the introduction because I'm
nervous. I don't get to talk a lot on the show, so I'm kind of nervous. Like, let me take a deep breath. From time to time, we have a guest. Those that are daring enough and nice enough to join us. Us little people in the hobby world.
Our little space.
Yeah, our little space. But our next guest is actually, I consider to be a good buddy of mine and of Card Hedge. Met this guy sort of right away when his site came out. We started talking. I really, really enjoyed it. And the support that I received from his company when I was working through, like kind of learning the site and things like that early on, kind of sold me on who they were as a company and as people. And I've been a big fan and a big believer of this site. And without further ado, let's bring in Connor, CEO. Where'd he go? There he is.
There he goes.
From buysportscards.com. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the kind words. I'm also a fan of your guys' podcast, so it's nice to be able to get on here for the first time.
That makes two of you, so thank you.
3, actually. My mom.
Can you leave us a review?
Yeah, I will, actually, if you want me to.
Yeah, actually, we do. I'm not even joking.
All right.
And anybody else that's watching, can you leave us a review, good, bad, or indifferent? Hook a brother up for once. You know?
I mean, if you hate my hat, let us know something.
Speaking of that, before we get into this, Connor, sorry for a second. I got to just clear the air here. So, if you haven't been over to old Retro Hoops channel here, he sells merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
So the other night, me, out of the kindness of my heart, I went on and I bought a hat.
Did you now?
I did. I still haven't got it, though. I'm actually kind of pissed. So Shady Omar takes my cash and doesn't ship out his supplies.
Well, hold on now.
So I have a receipt because I knew this was going to happen. And I'm going to return it because I'm actually, it's not fair.
Well, let me see here.
Fair.
I gotta.
You know what? Like, I want you to support Omar, but at the same time, until I get my goods, just hold off on supporting him.
Yeah, just hang tight. Yeah.
You know?
He's probably still grieving. He's probably still grieving that Game 7 loss, though. I don't.
Yeah,
we're not going to talk about that.
I saw the hat, so I had to.
Yeah, you know what? He's turning it back around. He took a lot of crap in our little group chat the other night.
Oh my God, did
awesome.
I ever? Jeez Louise. But I was.
The next night, Lou took it. Yep.
Lou took it. That's right. Because Lou's a big Phillies guy, and then Phillies got smoked, and I was happy about that.
Now you are a Cardinals fan, am I correct?
Yes. Yeah, I'm out of St. Louis.
St. Louis guy. So your Cardinals are like my Red Sox. They didn't do anything really this year, so we don't really have any room to talk. But it's still fun to watch these two guys go back and forth, and then their teams both crapped the bed, and I just sat there and laughed. So, so listen, man, thanks for joining us. We like I said in the intro, we've kind of been pals here for a while. Stay in touch, and I know you and the boss man, talk quite a bit. So it's I feel like we have a pretty good relationship between us as humans and us as companies, which is always cool because sometimes I think business can be a little just straightforward. It's all about dollars and cents, and I feel like between you and your guys and us and our guys that's not necessarily the case. Just a bunch of people trying to figure it out, right? So let's start with, for those that don't know about buysportscards.com, what is it? Yeah,
so We launched our site buysportscards.com back in March of 2022. It's a marketplace. So it's a peer-to-peer marketplace, not a consignment site. So you list your own inventory, you store it with you. We have lots of tools to list items really quickly, 0% seller fees. And then when you sell an item, we have built-in shipping available, including a standard envelope that you can ship for less than $1 to the buyer. So really kind of the thought process behind the site, as I think we'll get into a little bit later, I collect kind of the more of the low end of the market, stuff that's less than $50, less than $100. Honestly, in a lot of cases, less than
listen, you're speaking our language.
Yeah, exactly. Right up my alley, baby.
Exactly. And that's really where, when I started to look, especially going back a couple years, a lot of the excitement in the industry that you saw on podcast and you saw new businesses popping up were servicing more high end part of the market or newer products like the fractional and the NFT and breaks and things like that. And kind of the, the lowly collectors like us that really, just love the cards and, are picking up, maybe a couple $100s worth a month, of a couple hundred cards. That really, there wasn't a lot of innovation in that part of the market to make it easier. And so we've really focused on trying to make it a lot easier to buy and sell cards. And I think we've made pretty good progress. So since we launched the site about 18 months or so ago, we have now 8.3 million cards available on the site. That's 1.1 million. Yeah, it's 1.1 million unique cards. So like different cards. So 8.3 million total quantity. And actually, since we launched the site, the only site that's had more inventory added to it than our site is eBay. So, we've really seen that there was a need in the market for collectors, not only just from the standpoint of buying, but also people that wanted to unload their cards. And I think that the tools that we provide to make it really easy for sellers to list by having the data is the foundation. Also allows us to organize listings and make it really easy for buyers to go through and fill out their collections, whether they're player collectors or set collectors. And so we've really started to see, the momentum pick up on both sides of the market because people are just frustrated with more generic experiences that aren't really tailored towards us.
Yep. All right. So that was a hell of an introduction and a hell of a description of the site. I guess, one of my, as a user of your site, I think, being able to deliver a product that actually makes sense is very difficult. And I feel like you guys have really thought this site out and really stuck to your goals. You've kind of navigated the waters a little bit and made some subtle changes, but the subtle changes you've made are really, I think, impactful, right? Especially for people that are looking to sell, and time is valuable, right? We're all fathers, we all have kids, and we're all busy and doing things. So, like when you guys added that bulk listing feature. That was genius. I can go on and I can click and list however many cards I want in like no time. The other thing that you guys do that I like, and now some people don't necessarily like, I'll preface with that, is you provide like a stock image on, I'd say, like 90% of the cards right off the bat, right?
Yeah,
a lot, right? Which I find very helpful. Now, I know some people, when I did my video on you guys a while ago, some of the feedback was, well, how do I know the condition of your card? Well, I'm listing you the condition of the card. Well, how do I know it's accurate?
Yeah.
Well, you're right. It's a good point. So has there been my question to you is has there been any upgrades as far as image uploading that would make that much faster for the average guy or girl?
Yeah. So kind of going to what you say, I think it's important to kind of describe the way that the site's laid out. And I know Omar, I think, is kind of clicking through it right now. So One of the things that I think that we do that really differentiates us from some of the other companies out there, including an eBay, is that we have about almost 17 million cards that we have in our catalog. And so that's nearly every sports card ever made. Our users are great about telling us if we're missing things. We typically will go in to add it. And what that does for the seller is it provides all of the like 95% of the information. It's all the information relevant to that card. When they want to list a card, all we need to know is their price, their quantity, their condition. And if they want to add their own photo, they're always able to do that. And so we're basically taking it from 20 pieces of information down to 3 or 4. And so it cuts, time down so much. And so that also serves as like the other side of the coin is that we're also able to organize listings for buyers. And so, if you just looked up like a 2022 Topps baseball set, and you just pick a card, because there's probably going to be a lot of listings on that, you'll be able to see let's see if we can find, maybe type in search base on top of it, because there'll be a ton of the base cards. Or that works too either. That card's fine. Whatever. You'll see we've got, the Anthony Bass card or whatever at the top has 48 copies.
Yeah.
And if you click on that listing, you'll see everybody that's selling that card there. And so you'll see their quantity, you'll see their name, their feedback percentage, how many cards they've sold, their shipping price, the condition of the card, all in one spot. And so that's something that's really different than eBay, because a card like this or, other cards, you're going to be served up a lot of the parallels in the results. You're going to be served up other things. And we've really standardized it so that if you're looking for this card, we can show you everybody in one spot that's offering it side by side, and then you can make a decision. And on an example of a card like this, a lot of the people did not take a picture because it's a 25-cent card and for them, it's worth the time. But that's also a way that, you can differentiate yourself as a seller when you're showing up next to other people. And so by having everything organized on the page like this, and by having those stock images there on the site, we're able to make it a lot easier to have everything in one place, which saves the buyer time.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've seen is that as we've gone along in this process, there's things that we've done to enhance the images. There's still things to come. But right now, kind of with one of the programs that we're doing that I think we'll talk about a little bit later, we actually are further incentivizing people to upload images because, as a collector, I understand there's some cards I don't care if I get a picture of. There's other necessity. And so that's where we're kind of trying to find what the right line is, whether it be a certain dollar amount, whether it be a certain serial number or lower. Graded cards, we require image on every one just for verification purposes. So there's stuff like that. But, when people ask why we don't have a picture on every card, the reality is a lot of these 25-cent, 50-cent dollar cards are not worth everybody's time to take their phone out or to use to pump them through. And I'd rather those cards get listed online without a picture than to not have it listed at all. And so it's a balance, but I think we're constantly taking user feedback. And there you can see, that's an example of a card with an image. We have the little camera icon. If you click on that listing there, it'll actually replace the stock image. It'll replace.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. It'll replace the stock image with the user's image. And so that's a way that, you'll be able to see specifically what you're going for.
So now, as a collector, and as I'm guessing, you buy cards on your site.
Mm-hmm.
Do you personally have a dollar amount where you're like, you know what, I want to see a picture? Is like that psychological piece in your head where you're like, all right?
For me, it is.
Yeah, because I have a number in my head too. I'm curious if both of you would have a number. I have
anything over $20. Okay. I got a problem letting go of a 20 for you know what I mean? Like, all
right. So you'd be all right if I listed a $10 card and there was no picture and you just like the description, you'd be okay dropping $10.
Well, what's funny is that so you're saying this, right? And I was just looking at one of the cards that I've been wanting to pick up is a Dwayne Wade bazooka. The bazooka gum, and it's smack dab in the front of the screen there. It's one of the featured cards. And I clicked on it, and there was about 2 or 3 listings of it, and one was at like $12, and then the other one was at $20. And right now, as you're explaining the whole uploaded pictures versus not uploaded pictures, neither one of them were graded. They were both raw, and they were both listed, I think, as near mint, just according to the standards that you have there. And that $12 one was looking pretty enticing. I was almost going to just, just go ahead and add that to the cart and buy it and just kind of see what comes out on the other end. But
and that's a big thing too, is that we've, if you ever go into the site and you look at the FAQs, that we do have protections in place, that refunds are available. You'll have to leave that seller's inventory that you were on.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I got to go to the,
you can click it. Yeah. Click that and then click leave right over to the right. Yep. And then, it'll show you everybody's inventory. But yeah, so we do have protections in place for buyers on the site so that if you get something that is damaged, if it's not in the condition, if it's not the right card, that you're always protected on those and we'll be able to step in on your behalf. You asked me kind of where my threshold is.
Yeah.
I'm probably pretty influenced by, we actually have asked for a lot of user feedback on this. Typically 10, 15, $20 is kind of where people draw the line. And, there's cards that, like, if I knew for a fact I was going to get a card because they're like 2004 Upper Deck Power-Ups, my favorite set. And there's these blue ones that are the highest ones.
Yeah.
And if one of those popped up for $50 without a picture, I would buy it because I want that card. Because So it's like, even if it had dinged corners or whatever, it's like, I'm just trying to fill the set out.
Yeah.
And they're so hard to find. I've only
that makes a difference too in a little bit of that as well, because if you're a set built, so like if you're building a set for whatever reason, and you're trying to fill out the set, then I agree with you. I think for me, like after like $10, I want to see. I'd like to see something. For whatever reason, I think it's just my own thing. But up till $10, I'm cool. Like I've bought cards off the site like a lot without an image, and I've like kind of vintage cards and things like that where I'm expecting them to come in and look like they were run over by a lawnmower. And sometimes I've been pleasantly surprised with like, wow, this is a damn nice card for like $7. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then there's cards I've bought where I'm like, damn. And it happens on eBay, and it happens on it happens Facebook, it happens everywhere. It's it's a problem across selling, right? Where people just aren't really honest. But at the end of the day, again, I think for me, like $5, $6, $7 isn't all right. I'll take the L. But if I'm dropping 20 and I get a card in and I'm like, damn it, you know what I mean? Like that's where I like. Say to myself, do your homework, dummy. You know what I mean? Like
to that point. I mean, I'm looking. I just pulled up Emotions for the 94.95 set. I got maybe about 15 or 20 of these cards that I still need to like fill out the set. And there's a bunch of them on here that I'm like, okay, this Glenn Rice for 25 cents. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like.
Exactly.
So I'm just gonna go through and just start adding, you know what I mean? Like all the ones that like I don't care, right? Like the Scotty.
And I think too, like I think people need to understand too. Obviously, the older the card, the chances of you buying a gem mint raw copy, it can happen. But let's be realistic here. Near mint and whatever is kind of where you got to expect. So. I don't know why I thought of that question, Connor. I just felt I always like to know like what like people think, and then sorry,
I'm over here window shopping. Well,
like I use as the the owner, you are actively using buysportscards.com all the time, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I think. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I would, I guess, suggest for anybody that has a business, especially if it's something like that, like ours, is it's really important because I think, being in the shoes of the people using your website, you start to really see what pain points or choke points there are in the process, like things that make it harder than it should be.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to one of the things that you mentioned early on, I think that is critical, and I think that collectors and people that are in this market and that care about collectibles and things that are a hobby, they're really able to tell the companies that are run by people that care versus people that are just doing it as a job or that they came from some other industry because,
because we got hot all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, it's like I can sympathize with like the experience that people are going through because I'm using my site the same way. And, it's at the end of the day, the customer is always right. And I think that, we want to make it as easy as possible to buy and sell sports cards online. And customer feedback's great, but it's kind of sometimes like Henry Ford said, it's like if I asked my customers what they would want, they'd said a better or a faster horse, a car. And so, I think that like me using the site, me actually caring about this part of the market has been one of the greatest tools that our company's had because it's allowed me to come up with ideas and things, because some of the technology background that our team has, some of my experience as somebody that owns a local card store, I have experiences that can actually create ideas from scratch. Whereas a lot of times user feedback is more on what you're currently doing. And it's not always as a creative from scratch. It's a lot of
that's a good point too. That's a good point. And I think that's important to mention too for people again, is like this is your life. Like you're a collector, you've got this site now, you're a card shop owner, like you are in sports cards. Like
you're in the mix.
Thing. Like you're not just someone that like popped in and trying to make a bunch of cash and looking for an exit. Like you legit care about this industry, this hobby, and the people in it. And I think that that's something that is really like I want to align my collecting with something like that. Because to me, it's much more personable when I can shoot an email and I get an actual response rapidly. Hey, we're on that, JD. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Just do this. You know what I mean? And it's like when that stuff keeps me coming back. And I applaud you guys for that because again, I know you're not like, 500 employees and this and that. It's a small team like Card Hedge is. So I get it. I get the struggles. Omar gets it. And it's tough sometimes to like, sometimes you get into the rat race and it's like, man, like, and you get like, Omar and I are guilty of it all the time. We'll be talking to each other and like, damn it, like, what else do we got to do? You know what I mean? And it's like, so I applaud the effort and I applaud, all of the thought that you're putting in. And I can't agree with you more about using the product as an actual owner / whatever, helps to make those changes. I'm on Card Hedge all the time, obviously. And I'm ask Omar. I mean, I'm sending things to River like, dude, we need to do this. We need to do that. And he's like, all right, dude, I've got a list of like 8 million ideas from you. And I'm on like the first 3. And I'm like, all right, well, like pick up the pace. So like, I fully get that and appreciate it. So switching gears a little bit, what kind of collector are you? What sports? Where's your bread and butter?
Yeah. So like I said, right now, I've probably kind of been more in a nostalgia phase for the last couple years. So obviously kind of was starting BSC, and then my dad had passed away in 2019. So a lot of like, when I also graduated college in 2019. So coming home, taking your stuff from your childhood home, and a lot of those memories, like seeing those cards that I had stocked away in different places, and remembering those times with my dad. It's kind of rekindled that. And now, obviously, I think you mentioned earlier that we're all fathers. I have a 2-year-old son. So there's just kind of that nostalgia and kind of tying me back to when I was a kid. So really 2004, 2005, 2006 is, 8 to 10 years old for me. Okay. And, I like Upper Deck Power-Ups, my favorite set. There's the baseball and the football set in 2004. I like Bazooka, the 2004, 2005 Bazooka sets. I like Donruss Studio from 2005, 2004.
Yeah, I like Studio a lot.
So Donruss Studio in 2005 was one that I collected quite a bit. It's the sets that nobody cares about. Like today, we do an email blast on Thursdays at buysportscards.com, and it's kind of a throwback Thursday. And we'll like highlight 4 or 5 different sets from a different decade because there's so many beautiful sets. Yeah. And, they're like time capsules really for the time they were created. You can tell, it's almost like watching an old movie, if you go watch like the 2002 Spider-Man movie, and it's like, that is encapsulating the time. I mean, you see in the background advertisements. It's like I remember when advertisements looked like that.
Yeah.
And I was watching World Series clips back when the Cardinals were in 2006, and it's like you see the Budweiser advertisement.
Yeah.
It's like I remember when things used to look like that time.
Like that. Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of these sets, I think, really encompass the same thing. And so, I mean, that's one of the best things about cards. That's why I love cards, is that no matter who you are, what part of the world that you're from, you know, which teams you rooted for, is there's kind of something for everybody. And I think that when you can root it to a player you love to watch, or a team, or a time, or, you know, you and your dad going to the games or watching the games.
Yeah.
You know, I still remember going to, you know, gas stations, going to Target, you know, after school or after a game and buying packs. And like, that's why I love those cards. And I'm still really kind of in that very like nostalgia driven place right now. And that's why I kind of, like I said, I love our site. We get a lot of feedback from people that we kind of help to rekindle that love, because I think the way that we display things with the stock images, the way that you can break it down like Omar did to the bazooka set, it just allows you to window shop. It allows you to reminisce. It allows you to find new stuff that's out there. Because I promise you, you start to find sets where it's like, I was collecting during that time and I never even knew this came out, but this design is better than the stuff I was collecting back then.
I do videos on my channel often, usually weekly, of highlighting another 90s set that I either A, forgot about, or B, didn't know about, or whatever. And it's like, it's constant. And I'm like, there is so much stuff out here that is just, and it's awesome. And it's like, when I think I've like you said, like I've uncovered like this awesome insert, and then I'm like hardcore collecting those and whatever. And then I come across another set and I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
you're right back in the mix.
And that's important too, what you said about like the way your site is set up, because I find for me, eBay, how I feel eBay addresses the window shopping is making sellers promote their listings, because you really can't. You can, but you can't get on eBay and just like look for stuff, right? The PWCC,
you have to be specific.
Is a master of window shopping for cards with those weekly. You just get on there and it's like you scroll, and the next thing you know, you're bidding on 5 cards you didn't even know you wanted. And your site is set up very similar, where you can hop on and start filtering out. Like I always go right to the 90s and I start filtering out by certain years and serial and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing you know, again, because some of it is lower end stuff, you know, I've bought 20, 30 cards and I haven't spent a whole hell of a lot of money, and they come in and I'm like, these things are cool. Yeah. And that piece of it is awesome. And I would highly encourage people watching this, create an account. It's free. Mm-hmm. You get on there, check it out, be a buyer at first, see what it's like. Now, speaking of that, let me ask you this question, because this was something I got a lot early on too. Is this payment 10-day hold thing still there? So can we talk about that for a little bit? Because people will sign up and they'll be like, JD, what the hell? So let's talk about that real quick, so everybody's clear about the payments.
Sure. Yeah.
Or the payouts, I should say.
Yes.
Or if you could just do an overview, kind of like of how to onboard as like both a buyer and a seller. What are the differences there?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll put a bow on kind of what we had just said about the looking around, and maybe give an interesting little factoid. So about
nice word, factoid.
The little thing that I found to be really interesting, like you said, is with eBay. It's not very experiential. It's what I would say is more transactional. It's getting on there, you find 1 or 2 cards you want, and you get off. You know, it's like you don't want to spend more time than you need to there. It's kind of like the DMV. It's like get in, get out. What I need. One of the statistics, and I don't know how relevant it is now, but somebody that I had talked to that is close to the information, like in eBay, they had said that like the average checkout is somewhere between a card and a half to 2 cards on average. So most people are buying 1, 2, 3 cards per checkout on eBay. It's very transactional. They may be coming back and shopping a lot, but they're not building big cards. Like for us at BSC, the average checkout is 30 cards per card. And I mean, we've had, so
wow.
The average checkout is 30 cards. And we've had
I can see that.
We've had people that have
definitely
checked out 1,500 cards in one checkout. And
Wow.
yeah, so I mean, we've had people that are building huge collections and they're shopping. And you've got to think if they're able to save the time to find those cards,
Yeah.
you know,
That's a good point.
if they don't have to cycle through all the stuff, they can get what they want and they can keep shopping.
1,500 cards.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We need more of those. So if anybody watching,
Yeah.
but yeah, so but to kind of go into what Omar he asked kind of about the process of setting up to be a buyer and a seller. So to be, first of all, there's no fees or anything associated with being on BSC. The only deduction that a seller has is the transaction fee that the credit card processor takes, which is actually lower than if you just did a PayPal transaction one-to-one. Like if JD and Omar were doing a deal online, you know, and they did goods and services, that's actually more expensive than our credit card processor is. But
wow.
Yeah, but as a buyer on buysportscards.com, to sign up, all you do is you create an account. You basically just enter your name and your email, and then you enter a password, and it makes an account. To become a seller, you go through the process of filling out some other information. So what you want to charge for your shipping rates, do you accept offers or not, what you want your store's name to be, what your address is. And then you are able to also go through and then connect your bank account. And so what we do is we do ACH transfers. And one of the decisions that we had to make pretty early on was, did we want to go with PayPal for paying out to the sellers, or did we want to use a third party like bank transfer that's 100% secure? We don't store any of the bank information. The third party does it. They're PCI compliant, all that stuff. But the reason we didn't go with PayPal is that PayPal told us that they would have the final say on returns or refunds. And as somebody that owns a store, I didn't want to have sellers be subjected to some of the stuff that you do deal with, like on an eBay, where no matter what, they rule against the seller. Like somebody tears their ACL and now 3 weeks later, I want to return the card. You're SOL. So, you know, ultimately it leads to us having to answer some of these questions and deal with some of the other difficulties of it. But that was something that was very personal to me because I've got the short end of the stick, probably like most people on here, and it really spurns you. But so once you connect that bank account, then you're good to sell. And like I said, the only deduction is it's like that 3.5% credit card fee. But if like you did $100 order on the site, the credit card processor takes $3.50. They send the 96.5 to BSC's bank, and then we send that out all 96.5 to you. So we have zero revenue. We've kept the site free to keep it growing quickly. The process of payment, the way that it works is that once you sell an item and you mark it as shipped, it enters a 10-day hold period. And that allows basically for the item to arrive and to ensure that it's basically what you said that it was before we send you the funds. Because we haven't set it up so that I can like claw back funds from your account, because that's a little more invasive of a relationship for me to have with somebody's bank account. And I didn't want, first of all, I didn't want to do that. And that also opens up a lot more trust issues, understandably. So it's a one-way transaction that we have connected with people's bank, is we send you money. So it's a good relationship for you. But, you know, we just didn't want to end up in situations where we were a new site and, you know, people came along and they made a sale and they marketed a ship and they never shipped it. And now we sent $1,000 to them. And now and we're a business revenue. And now we've got to send $1,000 to the buyer and we're SOL. So that's kind of why there's still the delay. I think as we get bigger, as we start to do fees, we'll be able to make those payments go quicker. But at the end of the day, to save 10, 15, 20% on fees and wait a little bit longer, it's a pretty good, you know, ROI.
Yeah. I think, and I think the big thing is like, for me, it hasn't bothered me one bit waiting for the money. In fact, oftentimes I forget about it, and then I will log into my account and I'm like, oh, all right.
Oh, that's nice.
Like Christmas,
you know, yeah. But, you know, I can, like, I certainly understand where people are like, well, you know, if I sell on Facebook, I get the money and this, that, and the other thing. I don't think people think through all of the benefits.
There's a trade-off there, right?
You know, like where are you comfortable as? And I think for younger people, obviously younger people are much more likely to take risks and things like that. So like that immediate gratification and wanting their money right away so they can go do something else with it and all that. I can see where sometimes the younger generation is going to be like, but like I look at it for someone like me. again, I'm not doing this to pay bills or anything like that. I'm buying and selling to fund my collection. Like I'm good with it. I'm good. It's like whatever. And again, I think if it's something that you believe in the site and you believe in maximizing the money that's going into your account, then it's worthwhile for you. Because again, as someone that sells on a few different sites, eBay takes a whole hell of a lot of money from you.
Yeah.
A whole hell of a lot of money from you. It's like sickening.
It's too much.
It's beyond too much.
Yeah, it's
like,
too much.
And it's like one of those things where I don't understand for the life of me why there's not like a revolution of like that we're done. We're moving everything over here. We're going here. Some of you go there. I don't understand that piece of the hobby, but whatever. You know what I mean?
It's gonna take options, JD, right?
There's a lot of options
DSP,
now.
right? That's what I'm
There's
saying.
a lot though, right?
Yeah.
So like think about it. In the last 3 years, you have eBay that's always going to be there. You have all the auction houses.
Mm-hmm.
You have PWCC. You've got Arena. You've got these guys buy sports cards. You've got My Card Post. You've got My Slabs. You've got a lot. I don't even know. I'm missing some, right?
Yeah. That's what I mean, though.
So there's options, but how do you like Connor comes on with us? We're just a couple of average Joes, man. We have a little bit of a reach, but like what I want to know is like, and somebody please leave this in the comments down below. Like, what's the hesitancy from saying, you know what? I'm tired of the fees. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the seller always getting screwed. Like, you guys, like, I can say this because I've used this site since its inception. You guys care about both parties, the buyer and the seller. What else? You know what I mean? Like, other than having $1 million marketing budget and just marketing the crap out of yourself, what else are these guys? You know what I mean? What else are we supposed to do? What else is it's a funny world out there sometimes where people decide to keep their money, if that makes sense. And I don't mean to get off on a tangent and I'm going all.
No, I'm
leading the revolution.
Yeah.
Hey, we welcome it. I mean, really what I would say, you mentioned kind of stuff with why do people use eBay. The reality is, in some respects, in different aspects of eBay, it's still the most robust.
Oh yeah, eyeballs.
Not even that it just has the most buyers and sellers. There's stuff about eBay. Like, one of the things that we were specific about, but besides eBay, as far as I know, we're the only marketplace that has built-in shipping as an option. None of these other sites have the ability to purchase labels. We're the only site that has a standard envelope option like eBay.
Right.
So
that is true.
I knew, as somebody that has a store that's been propositioned by a lot of different people to, hey, use Shopify, use Amazon, use eBay, use Alibaba, push your stuff to all these different places, is if you're trying to convert somebody off of another product, is that you've got to check all the boxes that product's doing. And what you see is, I think, a lot of these marketplaces that popped up, really what they do is they treat one symptom of eBay, but they don't do the other 90% of things that eBay does really well. And so, you mentioned in terms of like selling in Facebook groups and selling on Twitter and stuff. That's great stuff. I mean, I buy stuff on Twitter occasionally or wherever else. Yep. But the thing that I think buysportscards.com has that is very helpful is we focus on the lower end of the market. And so we have people with, I think it's between 15 and 20% of our several thousand sellers have over 1,000 listings. And so that's not something you can promote on a Facebook. It's not something that is easily digestible through Twitter. We have people with over 1 million cards. They can send a link to our site. Like I said, it's cheaper than doing a PayPal one-to-one transaction. Not to mention that we have 26,000 followers on Instagram. We have almost 10,000 on Twitter. We have 4,000 on Facebook. Like, we have an audience that we've built. We are constantly doing things like this podcast, going to shows, whatever else, where we're building an audience and bringing it to their inventory. So it's like, you shouldn't. Honestly, it's like, we're the idiots that are paying for everything. So rather than go through Shopify or anywhere else, come use our site. It's built for sports cards. It has no fees. I mean, you paying $20 a month to Shopify is a lot more than what you're paying using a site like ours. And so I think that we've seen a lot of people say, you know what, this is something that we believe in the vision ultimately. These are a good team. They've been around. Our site in March turns 2 years old. You've never heard news about us stealing money from people. You've never heard a bad thing about our customer support. And I think as time goes on, what we knew from the beginning is that it takes a long time to build a reputation, and it takes a very short amount of time to destroy it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think a lot of the companies that have come in with venture capital money or from the outside, they've tried to spend 10 years worth of their marketing budget to build 10 years worth of credibility in 10 months.
Yeah, and it doesn't work like that. That is not a one-to-one relationship in the hobby. Right. Yeah. The dollar is not one-to-one.
I think, and the other piece of this too, right? If that still doesn't move the needle for you to try buysportscards.com, you got a little promotion going on right now that might move the needle for some people. What is this promotion, and have you guys lost your minds?
Maybe. It's definitely put some things to the test in terms of bandwidth, but you know, one of the things that we're doing in October, which is exciting, and I think it'll hopefully be something that we're able to run different promotions around weeks or specific months in the future. We're calling it for this month the BSC Seller Spooktacular, you know, kind of playing into the Halloween theme.
Playing a little Halloween, I like it.
Exactly. But really,
Omar's favorite holiday, by the way, is Halloween.
Really?
Yeah. No, I don't. I hate it.
It's the only time he gets to be himself.
Yeah. He doesn't have to wear the mask. But so this month we're basically running a promotion that's compensating sellers for listing inventory on the site. And it serves as twofold. I mean, we get so many people that say, we're glad we found your site. We've already listed this many thousands of cards. Here's a picture of my garage or my warehouse that I have hundreds of thousands or millions of cards that I'm going to put on BSC. But as you guys know, a lot of people are doing this on the side. They're doing it in retirement. And sometimes you need the additional nudge. So what we're doing is that we are compensating sellers based on their listing. So it's 2 cents for a raw card. It's 4 cents if you list a raw card with images attached. So a little nod to kind of say, hey, buyers want images. And it's 20 cents per graded slab that you're listing. We also have a bonus of an extra 20% on top of whatever value bucket you fall into for vintage cards. And so really kind of the structure of that is not only are we kind of giving back and incentivizing people to kind of go on this journey with us, we're also filling out some of the holes in our inventory, because the way we've built our marketplace is, like I said, you've seen a lot of people that have jumped in the market that are targeting the $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, $1 million cards, which is great. But 99% of people are not spending $1,000 in a month, in a year on cards. And so
that'd be us.
Yeah. So that,
but I thought you were saying that was you. I was like, what?
No, I'm not. What? No, definitely not spending.
About to end the show forever.
Yes. No.
But that's kind of what I'd say, like the silent majority is that these people that love cards, and it's not about really, this one's up 15% month over month. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just hate that this part of the market that I think is vital. I think it's the floor when things get bad in the market. These are the people that aren't going to leave. It's almost like they're dismissed and nobody cares about them. And,
I agree totally.
And I think a lot of these companies see that, constantly the content online is about the $1 million cards, and they think, oh, well, everybody must, be buying $1 million cards. It's like, no, most people are kind of like us. So we're just running this program to incentivize them to list their inventory. We're compensating them in return. And we expect about 1 million cards to be listed just this month, which is awesome.
So that promotion is going until when? Till the end of this month?
Yeah, so it's going till the 31st. But like I said, we've only got about a week left in this one. But I think probably before the end of the year, we will do some sort of a promotion again. And it's something that I think that we'll continue to do. In a lot of it, like I said,
you got 1 million cards.
Yeah. Well, it's going to cost us, but
is there a cap per user?
No, so there's no cap, and that's another thing too about our site. So there's no cap on the promotion. So if you've got enough, we'll pay you 10 grand, JD. So feel free. I mean, 50 grand, whatever it is, it'd be a lot of cards.
Everybody send me their cards.
Stacks of boxes I got sitting over there going.
Everybody send me your cards and I'll list them.
I think we'll probably pay out 5 figures on just the promotion, but ultimately it really it's very helpful to the site, because you start to, we see buyers that are coming looking for different stuff, even though we have 8.3 million cards on the site right now. There's still stuff that we don't have that we'd like to have.
Yeah.
And so as we can build that out, that's a great thing. I think that we're kind of able to do. And like I said, especially in a tough market, like even though sellers are doing well on the website, it's just an additional incentive to list cards. And you see a lot of other sites seeing that the market's down, their business is down, so they're raising fees to try to make up for it. I think we're kind of trying to go the other way and hope that, we get people through the door. I mean, that's what the free is for. That's what all of this is for, is that we want people to see that we're here for the long run and that we're doing a good thing. And
it's a hell of a promotion, man. I'm not going to lie. Like,
yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anybody paying
me to list my car. I'm thinking in my back, I'm like, I got like 30 graded cards.
I'm starting to think about, I'm trying to calculate how much vacation time I have.
Yeah.
I could probably take a vacation day, you know what I mean? And just,
but you don't,
like a madman.
That's the thing too. Like, if you have thousands of cards, you can literally list them. And I know I'm sounding like a pitch man right now, but I only know this because I've done it.
Because you've done it, yeah.
You can list thousands of cards like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've had people that
without having to have like Card Dealer Pro or some software. This is like legit. You just dummy proof. Click. All right, 20 tops. I have card 1 through 300. Click. Price. Submit.
Yeah, we have people that in the course of an afternoon have listed over 25,000 cards. I mean, so
holy God,
just individuals, and that's another thing too that really differentiates us as well. Is if you look at like eBay, if you want to list 100,000 like marketplace listings on eBay, it's $3,000 a month. That's what the eBay store fee is, $3,000 a month. So I mean, we have probably, I would have to check, but I would think at least close to 100 or maybe more people that kind of hit that threshold.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking 30 cards per transaction, average, right? I think that's what you said, right? 30 is your average cart roughly for checkouts.
Yeah,
that sounds about right. I mean, we were talking earlier about the transactional side of like some of the bigger places where you go buy cards. It's like one per. You're there to buy a very specific thing. But I mean, hell, put me in a card show where everything is $1 and 25 cents and 50 cents. I'm gonna walk out of there with 100 cards.
Yeah.
Right. And do so very quickly, especially if
that's true.
Show me all of the 2003 tops that are not LeBron James, basketball for that year. And I'm going through and I'm skimming and I'm going, oh, well, I like this guy. Oh, I like this guy. I was just skimming through right here. And this is horrible because, anytime somebody comes on that has like something good like this, I always find myself like getting distracted and window shopping.
Yeah.
It
does.
I got like
That's
about
why
12.
I always ask all the questions because I watch him and I can see the window down below of him. I'm like, he's like,
I already have like 12 Christian Leitner cards in my cart, and most of them are parallels, and I'm only at $16.
No one ever.
Well, I mean, I like the guys. It's kind of oddball story. But it just speaks to what you're talking about, right? The amount of cards that can be sold, and it sounds like a crazy thing to hear, but then when you understand sort of like the psychological way that you actually navigate your site, you can begin to understand how that's possible, right?
Now, crazy idea here, and it may or may not be a good one. With all of the amount of cards and sellers and inventory and things like that, have you guys thought about doing any type of like live online type showcases or card shows or whatever, where some of the sellers get to feature their listings live, where people can say, oh, all right, you can flip through these cards? Because there's a lot of guys out there, and I know a couple that have massive amounts of cards on eBay, and they'll spend one night a week on YouTube going through, all right, we're going to do the Phillies now, and we'll go through the Phillies and the 25 cents, whatever. Have you ever thought about any of that, like that part of maybe the site or a YouTube channel for buy sports cards or whatever it is, where you can highlight some of the bigger dealers, so to speak, and some of their inventory?
Yeah, no, I think that's like a vital thing, and I would love to have that on our site at some point. What I would say the biggest thing, though, and I appreciate you seeing that from the outside. You didn't necessarily articulate it as specific.
No, I didn't.
For our
just
business,
an idea I had.
No, not the idea, but what you said about our business is us being hyper focused on what we're doing. So really, the biggest thing I tell our team all the time is like our North Star is what we're doing, making it easier to buy and sell sports cards. And so that definitely fits in that agenda. But one of the biggest things that I think, you can probably think of some of the companies in the industry is that they're very scatterbrained and they're never able to get anything done because no matter which way the wind blows, it's like, oh, now we're going to go.
They're chasing.
Yeah, it's now in it's NFTs, now it's breaks, now it's this, now it's that. I would rather be an inch wide and a mile deep in these cards. And there's so much that we've not done that we have plans to do to make this part of the market more serviced and to work our way up the value chain to the, not just the 25-cent cards, but the $25 cards to the $250 cards.
Yeah.
There's so much that we can still do here that we're not taking our eye off the ball. And so there's things like the bulk upload and, the standard envelope and the shipping tiers and different things that we've done. But all of it is meant to enhance making it easier to buy and sell cards in this part of the market. And as I'm sure you guys know at Card Hedge, a lot of the reason why this has been abandoned as part of the market is because there's so much data, and you've really got to be thoughtful about the way that you organize the data for both the buyer and the seller. And so, if you kind of look, there's not been any company in the last 10 years. A lot of our competitors are 15 to 20 years old, and there's nobody that's really went into this part of the market. So, I would love to be able to do that at some point, but that would have to be years away because there's just so much we'd like to do right now with what we're doing.
Now,
I think a great start for sure.
Yeah, and I think one thing to close on that you just mentioned, it's actually like, I know you've talked about the lower end cards and things like that, but those $20 to $100 cards certainly would be a lot more profitable on your site.
Yeah.
Like I sold a $100 card today after fees. It's like, I think I took home like 80 something dollars.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So and it's like, I'm finding like on eBay with sales, I've become much more like stingy on where I'm willing to go on a sale, because I've already lost a whole bunch of money on some of these things.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to get fair market value, but I'm not trying to get like your cheap market value of like, the card's $80 and you're offering me 40 3 times in a week, bro. I'm not selling it to you for 40. Like you might get me at 75, but that's really it. Because after you take out all the fees, I'm walking home with 60. So that's why it's like, again, it goes back to like that psychological piece of, if I sell an $80 card on BSC, I'm walking out with $78.
Yeah. And that's a thing too that we see, because there's no fee associated with having a seller account. There's no fee associated with the sale. There's no fee associated with listing. And so we have people that are listing cards that they also have on their eBay, and a lot of times they put them 10% cheaper and they'll still make more money.
Yeah, true.
So
that's crazy.
Then last question, because I think people would ask this. How are you guys handling 1099s?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that, because some of the people that we compete with, they don't even abide by the 1099s.
That's what I do, Connor. I ask good questions.
Yeah, there's
sometimes.
On a roll today, buddy.
Some of the people that we kind of compete with don't even kind of follow the rules around the 1099. So they open their sellers up to obviously tax liability. I think that's terrible. So the vendor that we use a company called Dwala. They handle all of our ACH transfers. They also take into account where the seller's located for any specific state, rules around, as well as anybody that hits the federal threshold, and they send out 1099s at the end of the year. So there's some people that don't like to hear that, and that's why like some people like to just sell a card show.
You're not getting away from it though.
Yeah. You're gonna get hit.
Anything you're selling online, you're gonna get hit.
Exactly. So we abide by all of the rules there. We've got a great vendor that takes care of it. Something we pay for, so it's not something that affects the seller. But we want to be on the up and up. We want to make it, like I said, as turnkey as possible. There's stuff that we've had to push them on to make sure that it's easier for our sellers. But that, like I said, at some point our company will charge a fee. We're just like anybody else. We need to make money.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a tasteful way to do that. And even at like I'd be surprised if we ever got kind of as high as the eBay fees are right now. But I think more than anything for people, it's, are they getting the value, the perceived value for how much they're paying? And I think that on eBay and other sites that the value doesn't always live up to the amount that they're being charged. And that's why we ultimately started our site. And I think why we've been able to get some traction from people who feel the same way.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I think eBay,
that's
eBay's doing some stuff that because I mean people got to remember, especially those of us in the hobby that are using eBay heavily. eBay is an auction site, right? I mean they're not a sports card selling website, right? And so everything that they do has to be kind of across the board when it comes to the way that they handle auctions and the way that they sell things, right? And there's a lot of nuances in the way that you want to handle a sports card transaction. And that's where I think that there's a lot of opportunity for, websites like BSC to come in and really kind of tailor a website that caters to this particular hobby, because it's massive, right? And it's blown up in the last couple of years, and we don't really have much that's doing it in that fashion. And I think whoever ends up getting that right is going to end up making some major headway in the hobby. And that's
it's a marathon, not a sprint, baby.
That's right. Marathon, that's right. 100%.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right on that. I mean, if you look at the end of the day, the sports card industry basically spans 150 years worth of cards. There's 17, 18 million unique cards that have ever been created. 25 different sports that there's cards for. If you look at the most recent sets, these sets have 40 different parallels for the same card. If this isn't an industry that spans enough time, enough unique, use cases that it doesn't deserve its own website, then I'm not sure what would. But
agreed.
Yeah, it exists with cars, it exists with shoes, it exists with watch, Legos, musical instruments, trading cards has it, TCG Player. I mean, so I think that sports cards is an obvious one to do it. I don't think people have chosen to do it because there's just so much more of a history and so much more data here. But that's really what we're trying to tackle. And I would just ask anybody that appreciates what we're doing to kind of, hopefully spread the word if they like it, and also give us feedback, because we're not perfect. And ultimately, we're trying to constantly improve the website to kind of meet this need that we see in the market.
So awesome. Great show. Thank you for joining us. Where can people find you? Where socials? This is your time. Do your thing, and we'll sign off after that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys both having me on. It was great talking to you. We're on all social media as Buy Sports Cards, just like the website name. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. So, and check it out at buysportscards.com. Like I said, we love feedback. We're very open. We want to improve. So let us know what you think. And if there's something you'd like to see, send it our way. We're pretty good about getting back and, getting things implemented.
Awesome. Man.
Awesome. Yeah.
Getting paid to list sports cards.
Yep. A whole new concept. It's a whole new world out there.
So by the time this releases, which is going to be Saturday, you'll essentially have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right. 3 or 4 more days to set up your account and then get listing. Right.
Yep. And this is like, so if I watch this on Saturday and I list all my cards Sunday and Monday, and even Tuesday on Halloween, I still qualify for this promotion. Correct?
For the payout.
Yeah. The only thing that I'd have to see with somebody is that sometimes the micro deposits for verifying your bank account may take a couple of days.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you're doing ACH.
It may be pretty close, to the line on that. But like I said, you'll
be running more promotions similar to this in the future to bolster.
Yeah, before the end of the year, we'll be running more. So it's probably best just to get set up and to try it get going for the next time.
I like this. I like this.
You know what? I might try to release this.
I've got weekend plans now.
Well, yeah, but now he's got me thinking about that, because the microtransactions are usually business days, so it's not really gonna.
You could start tonight. You could start tonight.
Start tonight, bro.
Yeah.
Start tonight, bro.
Well, either way it goes, Connor. Again, man, we really appreciate your time.
Thank
we think
you,
what
Connor.
you're doing over there is great. JD's been, really pushing to get you on, and I'm glad we were able to make the time and get the schedules aligned. So, good luck to you, man. We have an open door policy here. If you ever want to come back on, you got big promotion jumping off, obviously, especially
let us know.
Paying out. Yeah. Please let us know. We'll definitely get things moving on here. I will link all of Connor's stuff down below in the description if you guys want to check it out, as well as JD's channel. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We'll catch you on the next video.
Love you, Birdie.
Peace.
Yeah, thanks.
I love you, Birdie.